What's up, party people? Today on the podcast, I am joined by Alyssa of AVP and her hubby, Jack Beers.
Hello.
Hi.
And as you all know, the OG podcast is getting a reboot. And so what I'm doing is talking to all of the great content creators I've met over the years and paying it forward. But we have a good time on Thursday nights. And so I just wanted to interview them and, go ahead and tell me about how you started with sci-fi.
So my journey actually starts from the womb, and I'm not kidding when I say that, because my dad had these old Isaac Asimov magazines and books and stuff like that. And so when my dad would work nights and stuff like that, she would read those and stuff like that. And she was actually reading the book Dune, and then they were coming out with a movie in 1984, and she was pregnant with me at the time. So I always say my first exposure was from that. And later on, when I was about 3 or 4, my dad started introducing me to the original Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, The Return of the Jedi. Then he would introduce me also to Star Trek, the original series, also The Next Generation. That's where I started getting my first crushes, like Wesley Crusher. Later, Tom Paris.
I think we all did, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, when he got with Balon, I'm like, no, get away from him. But anyway, I digress. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, it started from there, and then I remember hearing about the Orville series, and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting. People kept saying, it's like Galaxy Quest in space, and I started attending some of these live panels, and then along the way, I met Jack, and we would talk off and on, and then he tagged me in a post on Twitter when he was tagging me, Tom Constantino, and a couple of others in the Orville community, because somebody was spreading rumors saying Orville season 2 is not happening. Season is canceled. And I was like, no, it's not canceled, because whereas, first of all, as a writer that I am, I'm like, what's your source material for this allegations that you're saying? Oh, I just know it's true. I just know it's true. I'm like, where's your source material? And then gradually, Jack and I started talking after we debunked this person's rumors. We developed a friendship, and then it grew into where we started dating each other, then grew into where we are now, almost 4 years later of first meeting each other. And then now we're married for 2 years. I live in California now. So that's how it started for me.
Congrats, you guys. That's fantastic.
So
What
for
about
me,
you, Jack?
I too was introduced to sci-fi at the womb. For when I was in the womb, they watched E.T. on the drive-through, the drive-in, and apparently, I was like 5 months or something along the way, so I must have heard the whole thing. But fast forwarding, I would say, very early on, as far as I can remember, I've always known about Star Trek. I'm assuming my first movie was either the first thing I ever watched was either Wrath of Khan or Search for Spock, one of those two. And then it kind of, went on from that. When TNG started coming on, and I started watching. My initial reaction was like, "Oh, where's Kirk and Spock?" Bald guy, but
Bald guy with an English accent. What's going on here?
Oh, great, hot.
But it grew on me. The characters grew on me, is what it was. I kept switching which character was my favorite. At one point, it was Worf. One point, it was Data. It eventually jumped to Picard, and then that's kind of who stuck with me. Philosophy-wise, I love this, and I love this man's philosophy. Like the whole diplomatic, wanting to find common ground so that we can make room for peace, that type of stuff. I love his speeches. His speeches were excellent. His first duty, the first duty of every Starfleet officer is to the truth, whether it's scientific truth or the other ones. I can't remember the whole thing right now, but it's so good. It's so good. But so Star Wars also, as far as I can remember, like, I remember watching those really early on, way before we had redigitized them.
Right.
But they did redigitize them, and they redid everything, and they released them back in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
My dad took me to the theaters to rewatch, basically reintroduce me to Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
and with the new thing. So I did get to see those in theaters, and then of course after that they came out with the prequels. First one, second one, third one though, that one was good. That was that transition from Anakin to Darth Vader. I love that. I love like if you go on Star Wars Theory, he goes through the whole psychology of the thing. Yeah, it's just enamoring. It's one of my favorite parts of Star Wars, just in general, is that aspect. But from there I just kind of got more into that. And then of course the Clone Wars. Star Trek wise, they had ended Enterprise, and then there was a little bit of a lull, and then they did 2009, Star Trek 2009. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay for a reboot, and I was willing to like keep just kind of keep going where it was going to go. Apparently, these guys thought that this was going to be like a complete movie franchise all the way.
Right.
Well, they're in talks about it again, so we'll see what happens.
That's true. They're in talks, but once again, they're in talks. But yeah, they plan on making like 10 Star Trek movies with this cast. I don't know about that, especially now that we lost one of them.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to replace Anton Yelchin. Oh my
Yes.
God.
That is
that?
extremely tragic.
Yes, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, and then of course it's recently taken a dive with how those two franchises are going right now. But I am being introduced to other franchises. Like recently, Alysia has introduced me to Stargate. I really love Stargate.
Oh, God, I love Stargate.
Yes, I would say I'm a female Daniel Jackson because I'm good with languages and I love the history stuff. So
yes, we started with SG1, and then we started getting into Atlantis around the time they actually started coalescing with each other.
Right, but we actually started with the movie first with the Stargate.
Yeah, first the movie. Yeah, she did it in order.
So we're doing a chronological order.
You got to start with that movie. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, and so otherwise, that's my sci-fi journey.
So I'm seeing some of your decorations behind you, Jack. What are some of those behind you?
Okay, so I like to call this my dining room. Because, so the truth is, I actually in another computer, what do they call that gaming program?
So that's a background. That's not really your house.
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, that is one.
I wish it was. It's just a green screen.
No, unfortunately not. We don't have that much space here yet.
So yeah, on Unreal Engine, I have a Unreal Engine on one of my other computers, and on that a few years ago, I built this entire castle with interiors and exteriors and everything, right? And so this is the dining room of my. If I could turn it around for you, you would see golden desks, golden tables with like
real gold. Not that leaf. Okay, not that crappy leaf.
Well, as far as the texture is concerned, yeah.
My bad.
But yeah, so I have other areas that I actually film for the background, but this only gives me one background, so I always use this one. But I also have a mini museum in there that focuses on my family history. And what I did for my dad's first car was this blue Volkswagen Beetle, and there's a picture with him next to it, and he's like 18, he's like real young and stuff, right? And I posted that up on a big old wall, like if I would post on a wall like this, and then right in front of it, I actually got like a 3D asset of the same car. I had to change the colors and I had to assemble it myself. But I put it together and then I placed it in front of that picture, with the door open, almost as if you can pose you can pose for the picture right in front of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my that's what my background represents. But yeah, it's just a green screen. It's just something fun. Also, like these are my banners. The logo itself is actually something from is actually like somebody made that for me back in 1999 for an album cover, and I've used it ever since as my logo.
That's cool. Really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's a skull and skull. It's a skull and crossbones with a pair of headphones. I call it skull and headphones.
Nice. So besides having a channel and a love of sci-fi, you guys are also authors.
Correct.
Ah, yes.
So tell us a little bit about what you've been writing about lately and your previous publishings.
Okay, so my journey started when I was about 7. So unfortunately, I went through many, many years of abuse and trauma and stuff like that, and a lot of bullying and stuff like that. So the way I would deal with to cope with it and stuff like that was I would write. And writing was basically a way of a means of escape, basically, from everything
Mm-hmm.
about the outside world. And I always jokingly said, if you give me a pen and I'll write the words. I actually wrote a poem about that. I can read that in a little bit. But basically, I wrote constantly. I would find on any scrap of paper I would write on. I would write down dreams I had. I would write down fan fictions. And when I moved out here to California, I had all these notebooks with me. And Jack says, "Hey, you've had all these writings." And he's like, "How long have you been writing?" I said, "About 30 something years." And he's like, "Have you ever
In a
thought about
row?
getting published?"
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically said, "No, I never thought." I mean, I thought about getting it published, yes, but I never thought about it being a reality, actually. So he's like, "Hey, why don't you? Here's some software that you can use that will help you with that. And here's the tools at your disposal, and let's see what we can do." So unfortunately, I have carpal tunnel syndrome, which makes it very difficult to type at times.
I know how you feel.
So it's incredibly
Me
painful,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I hired a typist on a thumbtack basically to type up a lot of my stuff. Some of the stuff I had already typed up already because I had a friend that he was a publisher. He had his own publishing company apparently in Paris, and we talked about getting my stuff published there in France, but nothing became of that. So I had a lot of stuff already typed up, but I had like a couple more things that still need to be typed up. And I said, you know what, let me send this over to this person. I paid her the fees, obviously, to do it. And she finished up the last bit of my type-ins. And so in January of this year, I actually got my first book published, which is this one right here. Basically, I called it Looking for Rainbows in the Midst of the Storms. And so basically, it's got poems, it got stories, it has essays, it's got some of my fan fiction. And so basically, writing has always been an outlet for me because, like I said, with the abuse I was going through, the trauma, writing was just a way to escape the reality that was going on around me. I could write about, say, I was being abused, or I could write about being bullied, and nobody's going to take that piece of paper from me and throw it away. They'll think, oh, she's just writing down, or she's just doing schoolwork, not realizing that I'm literally pouring out my heart and soul into that. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, I always jokingly say I have, instead of blood for ink, for my blood, I have like ink because I'm
Mm-hmm.
constantly writing. I'm always having notebooks, and it's something that I've always done. I mean, it's always been special to me. I mean, if I couldn't write, it would be just like heart wrenching because reading and writing were always like my top subjects in school. And my teachers were always commenting, hey, you're writing above your age level. You're writing above your age level.
Mm-hmm.
And and I actually was a newspaper writer for my community college for a little bit, and I actually got an award for that. And I don't know, writing's always been something that I've always loved. And now that I've got this first book published, I said, okay, since I'm getting ready to turn 40, this was before I turned 40, obviously, but I said, let me do the first 40 years of my life because I never thought I'd get to live as long as I have. So let me write about the first 40 years of my life, everything
Mm-hmm.
from babyhood up until now. And then if Lord willing, if I get to live another 40 plus years, I'll do the next volume of that. So,
Very
yeah.
cool. You and I have that in common. I was a fat kid, and I was always picked on by people, and that was just a way to cope with it. Was just
Yeah.
come home and start writing. Now, what happened to all my writing? I have no idea. But I think that's why I had writer's block for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I finally realized the relationship I was in was toxic and I needed to get out,
Mm-hmm.
it resolved itself. So the past few years, like 3 years, I've opened myself up to more fan fiction again, and I'm trying to find my screenplays at the Library of Congress. But it's just a way to get it out. But yeah, I find it fascinating. I'm going to buy your book, buy your guys' books and read them. And then I'll have you guys back on and we'll discuss them. So, and you said, do you have something else you said that was coming out soon?
Yes. So I'm going to try to do the memoir. Like the hardest part right now, which I hate, is editing. So I got to add the last little bit of photos. Basically, I had photos from basically almost every aspect of my life as possible, but there's certain photos I didn't have enough space in the chapter, so I said, okay, let me put these at the end of the book, basically, so everybody can see the pictures. I try to share a little bit of the stories about that. So that's the last little bit I need to do, is just the last bits of editing, because I know with this one, unfortunately, I didn't edit it too much. So I see a little bit of typos here and there, but this one I'm trying to be a little bit more careful with that, basically, to be careful, make sure that it makes sense, then everything. So I did find the point that I was telling you about. Give me the pen and I'll write the words. If you don't mind, I can read that for you guys.
Okay, go ahead.
So it says, people sit and watch me write. They wonder what it says, and is it all right to be read by others? I smile and say, yes, my words are meant to be read. If I had pen and the pen, then I just have to write the words. It may be about a mother bear in her den, or it could be about a battle with swords. The words I write are meant to cheer you. They are meant to be shared by all. That is why I write them down, to help get rid of that frown. Just give me a pen and I'll write the words. Just give me some time to write them down. It may take a while to finish it, but after a while it will get done. The next thing you know, the words will be printed so that many more can read my words. Just so give me the pen and I'll write the words for many more of my writings to be shared.
Nice.
So yeah, I actually wrote that for my literary magazine in college and stuff like that. And so people were like, really surprised, because I actually wrote this one when I was in college, and I was literally waiting for my mom to get off from work, and I just literally pulled out a pen and paper and I just started writing it there. And people literally were sitting beside me and says, hey, what are you writing? I said, oh, just a poem, something that came to my head. And so it just came to me, said, okay, just give me a pen and I'll write the words. And
see, if it had been me and they were asking me, I said, I'm writing up a police report on you.
But yeah, like I said, give me 5-10 minutes.
I don't like the way you're sitting on that bench asking me questions.
Right. But yeah, that's why, like I said, that's why I write.
Awesome. And Jack's got some really interesting books. I especially want to read the one about the cat dog because I love that show. Those shows came out for me when I was in high school.
Yes.
So that was like my 90s, was after school TNG and what was it called? What a Cartoon. That was my afternoons before I went to work.
Oh yeah. I've been really lucky to like, I was able to discover things, or I was young enough to discover them at a time when I can do them. Like I think it was like 1997. Oh
my God, I'm old. That's when I graduated high school.
I was still in high school. In fact, I was on the summer break, and my mom and I started working at this like little factory. It was from mp3.com, and they were giving away these CDs, these free CDs, and we were shipping off these CDs. And one day I was like, what the hell are these things? So I picked one up and I brought it in with me, and it was a full, like, It was a full musical edit, like music editing suite inside of a computer program,
Interesting.
right? So suddenly I didn't have to spend $1,000 on dollars on equipment just to do that. I could just do it on this thing that I got for free, that I kind of stole from my work for free. And so from there, I started actually writing music, and that's actually where I started. That's where my writing started. I wrote. I didn't write for every album. I did. A lot of them were instrumentals, but
so you started out more in music before you went to books.
Yes. And around the same time, like me and my buddy Mike we were just messing around. We would hang out at night, and we ended up like making these little comics about ourselves and our lives. And it culminated in Flunky Caveman's Big Book of Crap. That's Flunky. That's supposed to be me, and that's Caveman. That's supposed to be my friend Mike. And together we made these comics together. And what happened is I ended up discovering Cafe Press, and Cafe Press used to do books and magazines and comics. And so these came out initially. These came out as comics, and then I put them together into a book. Yeah. As you can see, they're very simple.
Now, is that available on Amazon?
Not anymore, unfortunately.
Not anymore.
This was from mp3.com, but then they for some reason they nuked my store. So
Aww.
So this is the only copy I have left. I gotta keep it. But I'll digitize it one day. I also came out with like other stuff. Then I started, when I got into like out of high school and into the Navy, I started being a little more introspective and stuff like that. And I ended up coming up with like this book called Know Me. It's a poem book of very terrible poems. But yeah, so I did that. I kept doing music and stuff like that. But then my interest started to change, and I started getting into history, like with like maybe about 2007, 2008. I started kind of getting into history, and it started with just like listening to some like teaching lecture courses, and then it just got further and further. One day I decided I wanted to write this stuff. Like why am I just learning about this stuff? I got to start writing, talking about this stuff. And so I've been living in San Diego all my life, so I decided I wanted to do a San Diego history thing. At first, I was thinking about doing. It started off as what I thought would be like a 20-minute history that I would like send the DVD to my daughters over in West Virginia, and that ended up turning into a 13 episode series called Discovering San Diego that I ended up sending every month to them on DVDs, which is actually available on YouTube. Yeah, so that's available on YouTube. Discovering San Diego, and then from that I started writing this book. I started writing about it, and it came out with this book. This is it's called Before First Contact: the story of San Diego before it was San Diego. And it's about the story of San Diego before it was San Diego. This is the history of San Diego geologically and everything that came with the culture before the culture came to them. It's all the way up to the Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo expedition in 1542. I've been writing ever since then. I've been writing about the rest of it, where I want to end it at 1850, where California becomes a state. And I'm slowly getting to it, but I've been writing other things in the process. I started writing about other things. Of course, I started writing about monsters. So I got my Mythic Genesis book. This came out last year, and this was I kind of wrote this as a distraction because my father was sick, and he ended up passing away, unfortunately. But
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah, but yeah. So like the idea was like kind of trying to distract me from like thinking about that, whereas like there wasn't anything I can do. So I came out with that, and then from there, I came out with this skeleton series called Legends of the Skeleton Clan, which is available right now. I'm still So I'm on book 4, which is called the Book of the Dead, and it's basically the expedition of these 3 uh, skeletons who are scholars. They're
Mm-hmm.
scholars, and they want to go to Egypt and acquire a book of the dead. This is around the 1600s, historical wise. And so there's a whole adventure that's doing that. The next version that's coming out is called the Grimoire of Shadows, where they actually try to break into the Vatican to get uh, the Grimoire of Honorius,
Mm-hmm.
which is an old book by an old pope. By the way, this is one of the skeletons. His name's
Oh,
Brown.
Yes.
nice.
Yeah,
So who
uh,
made that? Who made the skeleton for you? Did you make it yourself?
I did. So what I
Because I
that
know some people
most
are friends with Andy Masterson, and
yes.
if you give him the ideas and everything, he will build the action figure for you.
Oh my God,
Nice.
that would be
So
awesome.
yeah, I've been thinking about hiring him to build me a certain action figure. But anyways, moving on.
So the idea for those characters actually came from like a video we did last year. This is a Halloween video we were doing last year. An idea kind of came out of that. But yeah, so I've been doing all sorts of writing from there. Um, you know, I did one picture book that I wanted to expand on, but I still have yet to. It's called Pictures and Pictures.
Yes.
It's actually just pictures of San Diego that I've taken over the years. Um,
Nice.
that one from space is not real, but
Oh my
Yeah.
wow, you got access to a satellite?
but yeah, this is from Balboa Park, stuff like that. I was lucky enough to do a helicopter tour, so I did get a lot of aerial shots.
Mhm.
So this is an actual aerial shot that I was able to take of San Diego downtown area
Nice.
from the airport. Yeah. So yeah, I
Those are some
mean
great pictures. Yeah. I've never
They
been to
are.
San Diego. I've
it's
never been.
beautiful.
We
It's
highly
beautiful.
recommend it.
So on the bucket list is going to Comic-Con. So hopefully in the next couple of
We
years, I will
we
get
were
my
able to
ass down
host
there.
we were able to host last time
Sabrina.
Sabrina.
Yeah, Sabrina.
let me try it again. We were able to host Sabrina last time.
Mhm.
So that would be fun to host you.
That
Yes,
would be
definitely.
fun. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we
I
highly
want to
recommend
bring the
it.
kids because I think my kids would have a fun time. Plus, the more you stay in groups, the safer you are.
Yeah.
But I just the tickets are outrageous. And then if you want to get into everything, it's expensive.
Yeah,
So I
it's
told the kids
crazy.
that's gonna be like 10 years down the road.
Yeah,
If
once
we're
you
gonna
get
do
into
it
the
that way.
convention floor, once you get into the convention floor, you might want to, you might plan on spending, like $100, $200, and then suddenly you see something that's $600. I saw a Batman the animated series animation cell of Batman. I collect animation cells
Mhm.
from some of my favorite cartoons. One of my favorite ones, one of my crown glories is this Orko that I was able to hang up. This is just a printout that I pulled out.
That's awesome.
Uh, but yeah, so like I've got animation cells of like Raphael from the original Ninja Turtles, Egon from Ghostbusters. I got Ren from Ren and Stimpy, um, and the last thing I really really wanted was a Batman. But unfortunately, it was $600, and we were not.
Yeah.
That was not within our budget.
And I'm
That day.
pretty sure prices are jacked up when they bring it to Comic Con.
Oh,
Probably,
they
but
probably are. I mean,
but
yeah.
that does motivate me
Darn
to
well know
save
they
up.
didn't pay $600 for that, right?
True.
Yeah.
Does motivate me to save up though.
Yeah. I mean, that
Yeah.
Pink Ranger comic book thing that I got, that's a San Diego exclusive for the Comic Con. And I looked at it afterwards and people were selling them for outrageous prices.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I got mine fortunately for 160, but it did give me
And
like
she
a
signed
free.
it.
She signed it. She also
Yeah,
took pictures, which was so sweet. She's such a sweet, sweet person. I
yeah.
was like, yay.
Yeah, she signed it, and then she had the person who actually
the
wrote the book.
co-author, he signed it as
Yeah,
well.
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So that was fun.
He was sitting right across from her. And I was talking to them back and forth. I said, "Hey, I remember you from Susie Q," and she's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, that's right." Hardly anybody ever talks about Susie Q. Where is that by the chance? I said, "I think you can find that on YouTube and everything like that." She's like, "Oh, that's cool." But it was nice to actually meet her because she'd been one of my idols growing up, and
Mm-hmm.
it got me
That's
out of a lot
great.
of tough spots for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So the other two books that I have that I was going to talk about here. So this one is a mock thesis. I try to write a thesis.
I want to read that one, definitely.
Yes, I tried my best to write a doctoral thesis on whether or not a cat dog should exist in real life, and not in like naturally, not put together with genetics and stuff like that, but just naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Short answer is no.
No. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah. It's like I mean, there have been two-headed goats, but the way they drew it in Futurama, there's no way it could be born like that. I mean, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like
And
a
then,
freak of nature put together by Frankenstein, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
and then this is
Dr. Frankenstein, putting on the roots. Yeah. So
It's alive. It's a monstrosity.
and it's a bolt of lightning that does it, and it's a bolt of lightning that's part of this.
Yes, that book you wrote about you and your friend.
what's that book's title?
It's called Lightning Strikes Twice, a Flunky and Max Sterling novel. So the Flunky and Max Sterling show was something that happened back in the early 2000s up to 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And we had kind of grown into a, from like this little thing to like a variety type of show.
Mm-hmm.
And so like eventually we kind of like moved apart, and like we moved, he moved out somewhere, I moved, and I stayed here, and so like a lot of time passed and stuff like that. We were still friends and everything, but like we just hadn't created anything in a while, and he's been he was talking about he's been wanting to create something, and so in what do you call it, in spirit of that, I started writing. Unfortunately, like the story involves stuff that like would be beyond our budget. Like we can't film this. Yeah,
Right.
we couldn't film this if we wanted to, but I just figured, well, if we're gonna just write a novel, write our best ideas about it, like what's it gonna be about? Like, so this is actually something that took place this July. It was the fourth, like, so this year marks like some anniversaries of certain movies, such as Back to the Future, like the 40th anniversary of that. It's like there's an anniversary of Mallrats this year, and
Dogma.
there's also
25th anniversary of Dogma.
Yes, and now there's also Dogma as well, but so Dogma wasn't done by Universal, whereas Mallrats was done by Universal. The idea is we're all in the Universal backlot, and for the anniversaries of all these, including Psycho, it's like the 60th anniversary of Psycho this year, and so antics ensues. There's a character in there that resembles my real life daughter, called Brandy. My real life daughter's name is Chardonnay, but I call this one Brandy. And she's she sticks out very well. She's like the smart one of us boomers in the generation. She's the smarter one that uses all the technology and whatnot. But yeah, it's just a fun little story.
You just call us boomers.
I know we're not.
No, man, that's my parents. That's our parents. No.
That's the boomer mentality, I meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was fun to do, and as I said, like unless we ever got backing from it, it's never going to be we're never going to film it. But it was fun to write. So that's my rating.
Shop it. You could get an agent and shop it.
I probably
get.
I don't want to pay for that though.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, I've been looking into an agent myself, and I'm going, God. Yeah. So
that's yeah. a lot.
Yeah. I'd rather
Good
say
cuts.
independent media.
Right. Crowdfund it.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, that's my rating.
That's awesome. So where do you see your channel going?
So
Or what would you like to start doing on your channel that you're, besides what you're doing now?
I think one of the main things that we're going to probably try to do is because we both love history, and one of the things that we were doing a couple of years ago with a friend of ours at the time, we were doing the history of film, basically going in all the way back to the 1890s, all the way up to the
Nice.
modern era. So Jack and I would basically we're very thorough with our research, very, very, very thorough, and so we're gonna probably eventually try to get back into doing like watching some of these old 1890s, 1910s films and then react to those basically because a lot of times, because they're royalty free, they're public domain at this point, we can just
Mm-hmm.
play it. Now, to avoid
How's your
issues
search
with
going with trying to find those? Because I know when I'm
so
trying
we
to find one of them, it's so frustrating to try to
so
find.
so for me it's a rabbit hole because I find a bunch of them. I find like 10, 20 and stuff like that, maybe 50 and stuff like that because I'll find some like the early Wizard of Oz from 1909, the early
Mhm.
Peter Pan from the 1910s, or early Shirley Temple films. And so to avoid those issues with YouTube, primarily because the way they're
YouTube.
crazy and to put it nicely. But so what we do is we just mute the audio. He and I are basically doing the voices of whoever's the female characters, the male characters. We go back and forth, back and forth. And so we want people to know the history of film, how it's not always been the CG stuff that we see or the crappy storytelling is, uh, that it needs to be actually really good story qualities. And then how these studios got started with, like Thomas Edison, the controversy with one of the producers where he was basically accused of murdering somebody because his wife was having an affair.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that I know for a fact that I want to get back into. Or also, I love gaming, honestly, but the hardest part right now is trying to record the audio where you can hear me, but also hear the audio from the game too. I mean,
Mhm.
I love the game, but the last time we did a gaming video, I didn't do so good with the Disney Dreamlight Valley game that I'm playing. You could hear me, yes, but I want to share the audio because there's an option because they'll say, well, we know this music is controversial and copyright, so we give you a certain option where if you're streaming, we'll give you streaming free music that you can use. So I want to get back into that eventually.
Interesting.
They should do that.
Doing the history of film is so great, especially when you can bring in the lore
Yeah.
and some of the backstory. I think that's the funnest part of at
Hmm.
least for me when I was going through film school. That was my favorite thing was, and I don't know about you guys, but I was talking to Dark Helmet last night and I said, why is it that the pop culture stuff just sticks in your brain, but everything else just kind of disappears? I was like, why is that? Why do we
Constant
remember?
reinforcement.
Yeah, it just befuddles me sometimes because I'm like, what did I do yesterday? But Tom Cruise did that movie yesterday. It's or Seth did this yesterday, or whoever.
Right.
So you guys, like me, I've started doing I call it Sci-fi Mombie Found What, where when I'm side gigging and I see a new food, I bring it in and I do a short one. I haven't done one in a while, but you guys did something similar to that. Are you guys going to keep repeating that?
Yes, so we actually have because so one of the we had all these different weird sodas which I had to handle primarily by myself, but one of them got broken and I contacted the person and they said, "Oh, we'll send you one free of charge, no problem." So it's been sitting in our refrigerator for a couple of weeks now, but it's a pickle flavored soda. So
You
we're thinking about
finally just got it after. Did you guys do that like a couple months ago?
yeah, but just trying to make sure that we have the time and the energy because
Oh, okay. I was like, man, that's like really delayed shipping right there.
well, it wasn't delayed. It was just delayed us trying it. But
yeah, those were really like. So we're gonna try to do things where we know they at least don't taste terrible because
or smell bad because that mustard
This
was
is my favorite
awful.
part of it, though.
I think
Like-
there was at one point I just quit. I gave up. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yes. I mean, I wasn't mad at him. I was a little bit more sad knowing I had to go through it alone, basically. And
Like that's my favorite thing with co-host Vic when we do these taste testings and it tastes like crap, and we both go, the same.
Yeah.
Together.
Exactly. I mean, we like that, but we also like we said, okay, let's try foods that we know we probably might like. Because so we'll go maybe to the local Japanese little store that they have at the mall, or we'll order something on Amazon. Now, we basically the last time we couldn't choose like 3 or 4 different countries. We had to choose like one country only. So in this case, we chose only Korean snacks.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to basically say, okay, let's go through the whole box live on camera, figure out what's in here, and figure out what we can divide between the two of us. And if there's something that's like there's not an even amount of that, so we'll basically say, okay, I try a bite of it, and then I'll hand him the other bite of it and say, well, what do you think of it or whatever. So that's always an interesting challenge to say, okay, certain things I like, he may not like, or certain things he likes and I may not like, or there's certain things that we both agree, yeah, that is just despicable. We're not trying that again. So I think that's one thing that we definitely enjoy. One of the things that for us is really popular on our channel, which is these shorts that we do with animals, actually, when they'll have like a local petting zoo, or if we go to say SeaWorld, or if we go to somewhere in the area, we'll have something random happen, like a bird will fly by us and they'll get into a fight over a French fry.
It was actually a taco.
Seagulls, right? Yeah. Yeah.
But so those were like 3 or 4 different birds. It was actually like a seagull,
There was a
like a little heron, and one other little bird.
A duck. No, the duck ran away.
The duck stayed near us the whole time.
So like when I went to LA and got to finally go to the ocean, that was like my first ever being around a seagull, and we didn't even have any food, and they were like bothering the crap out of us. I'm going, how do people put up with this? So, but yeah, there were people around us that had coolers and stuff, and that's why they were, but I'm like, damn, these birds.
So I'm used to seagulls because back in Maryland, I would see them every so often, and it was the funny thing that you see.
I'm landlocked, so I've never been exposed to that stuff. So it was like a first time. I'm going.
So it's funny. I would see them basically hanging out in the KFC parking lot, and they're eating pieces of chicken that people had thrown out in the parking lot. And I'm thinking, they're eating your cousin. Why?
They're cannibals.
Exactly. I'm thinking you're eating your cousin. Shame on you.
Wow. I guess if you're hungry, you eat anything. So
I mean, there is. So and also that's a kind of funny. There is an exhibit here in San Diego, a cannibal exhibit. So that was one of the things that Jack took me to when I first came out here in 2020, and we had a quiz to say, okay, you're stranded on the Oregon Trail kind of thing, and you're forced to eat somebody. Will you do it? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. He's like, yeah, I'll eat you. I'm like,
Why is it that every time we start talking about cannibalism, we just go straight to the Oregon Trail?
But this was the Donner Party. It was so crazy.
I've died of dysentery.
I'm gonna have to. Is the exhibit still up?
Yes, it is. It's still
there.
there.
I'm gonna have to go look at this because
I'm
interested now.
We had to wear masks, and they had a little simulated raft kind of thing, and we had to stand on top of it. And I said, "Would you share a raft?" He's like, "I share a raft with you, but I will eat you if I'm starving."
Oh, I love you too.
Right? Please believe me.
And that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
Yes. I didn't run away. So.
Okay, we've got the cannibal talk out of the way. Now, what else are we talking about?
So, okay, I know you'll eat me. Maybe I will feed you.
Oh boy. So Jack, I see you have something up down there. Did you want to share?
Yes, please share that. So yeah, earlier Alysia was talking about how like meticulous we are in our research. And this is something that we did for our podcast, our history thing that we were doing before, but we're still using. So this is the timeline of unfortunately, I can't change the name, but it's actually the timeline of Paramount. And it starts with, it starts with like this. It starts with Zukar was born. Well, I gotta really fix that spelling. And then it just kind of goes on to like, when Paramount Pictures was founded. That's a little logo.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this, I mean, like it goes all the way to the present. Oops.
Oh, where Skydance took them over.
Yeah, it goes all the way to the present. I even include where is it at here? Oh yeah. So I also talk about how Gulf and Western acquired Desilu. I talk a little bit about the Star Trek stuff here. Roddenberry Filmation. It goes all the way to the Viacom days. On this side here, this is all the Paramount Viacom stuff. Up here is like the CBS stuff. And it kind of goes up until it becomes Paramount Global, and then Paramount Global releases Star Trek Section 31 on Paramount Plus. It is considered the worst movie in Star Trek history.
Yeah.
The very, very recent current merger between Paramount and Skydance. So
nice. Yeah,
I keep track on this. I had studying this, I had realized like, early back in late 2023, I had realized that they were in a lot of financial trouble. And so I just followed them. And it was really fascinating to see, like, so with the exception of Disney, all of the classic film studios have been bought out at least once, and that's why they've survived this whole time. Because otherwise they would have been liquidated. So, for instance, Paramount, as you can see, has been bought and acquired and merged with many, many companies over the years. And that's how it is with, like Universal. Universal's been, owned by different entities over the years.
GE and Comcast, and no, they own Comcast. What am I talking about?
Yeah. But yeah, so like all of these major studios, I mean, especially like Warner Brothers, it's been bought out so much. I think they just keep the Warner Brothers in there just out of pity. You don't want to get rid of the name. But that was why it was such a tragedy when they got rid of Fox, if you know what I mean. Because that was also,
it's not really gotten rid of. I mean,
they got rid of the name Fox, and that was William Fox was the founder, the original founder, and unfortunately now his name is just tied to a news station. So I just thought that was a loss. But,
yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it really went downhill when Rupert Murdoch took it over.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. But yeah, so it's one of the things we really try to keep up with. So besides this, I have other timelines I work on here, and I'll give you another one here. Let's see. My favorite one is this Walt Disney timeline. It's the entire it's his entire life.
Yeah.
I did his entire life.
And I honestly believe that if Disney hadn't have created the parks, they wouldn't be what they are today.
True.
I truly believe that, because the parks keep the television and movie part going now. Yes.
And so, and I mean, like it even talks about how he started getting into that, where he, was obtaining zoning permissions. I actually went and found this. This is Disneyland in 1953.
Wow.
2 years before it was constructed. That was just lemon trees and orange groves.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I thought that was, I love this picture. I have a lot of versions of that picture where there's like, I've superimposed nowadays Disneyland into that center area. It's really fun. But
it's just amazing how the whole city has just grown around, pieces of land that were just vacant, and like you said, orange groves, lemon groves, Yeah. It's just crazy.
Yeah, this is the construction of Disney. This is from a video. So there was actual video of Disneyland being constructed, and this is the initial, what do you call it, the main road, what do you call it, Main Street.
Main Street. Yep.
Yeah, Main Street
Wow.
USA. Yeah, before they really built anything. So I thought that was pretty fun to show off. You got a lot of his hits, a lot of the movies that came out. Bambi lost $200,000 at the box office when it first initially came out.
Mhm.
We got to talk about like a walkout that happened over here between Universal and Walt Disney, where they lost Oswald the rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, you even got you got Disney World, the plans to build Disney World. Um, when he was in the hospital, and of course when he died. Yeah, and then that's his. But I also have his baby picture too from when he was born.
Yes.
In Kansas City, no less.
Yeah. So I mean that's how meticulous we are when like I will build
That's awesome.
timelines. I will write
Mhm.
like essays on it before I figure out what I want to actually do with it.
Yeah. I mean, we did it
That's
for some of the
great.
early film pioneers. Like I did one for Mary Pickford, and I think I did one for Shirley Temple.
Yes. Yeah, I have those here too. Let me pull those up too.
Yeah, because I mean, we went into a lot of detail. Because I mean,
Mhm.
we are very thorough. I mean, we don't. People say, "Oh," because I literally wrote like 9 pages of handwritten notes just on my research and stuff like that. Because I will basically go through everything, the Wikipedia, the encyclopedias, and that's basically my Mary Pickford one. Because I was like
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah. So Alysia did the Mary Pickford, and this is her timeline, as you
Yeah,
can
I try to
see.
include images with each one if possible, like like what her early name, Gladys Murray Smith, and then how she was basically discovered and how she had family members that she would perform with, and basically that they were discovered. And somebody says, "Oh, I don't like the name Mary Pickford. Why don't we change your name?" And she's like, "Okay, I'll change my name." And so she changed it to Mary Pickford. I think it was after a producer who had discovered her, and she
Oh,
has like a very ornate grave when she died, which is crazy
Mhm.
because it looks literally like a mausoleum kind of thing that you would see almost in a museum. Can you pull that one
Huh.
up, sweetheart?
is it right here? No.
Uh, there it
Hold
is,
on.
right there. Let me see.
Oh,
Might be at the bottom, about her
right
past.
there. Dies. I didn't see.
Hmm.
I didn't know when she died. There we go. Yeah. Is that it? Oh, there it
Yeah.
goes. It took a
Oh
second
wow.
to load.
See, that's very ornate. That was.
Wow, that
I
is
was like,
very.
Yeah.
wow. And I'm thinking. I mean, I know she was an early film star, but still, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Yep.
I mean, and then basically her basically going in from this is the thing that's interesting. A lot of people think, oh, movies always had sound. I'm like, no, adding
Nope.
sound to movies basically did not help things because for her to be heard speaking, it was almost like considered like, oh no, that's like that's we can't have that. It's like no. Or when she cut her because she was known for her gold ringlets of hair she
Mhm.
got them after her mother passed away. They were like absolutely horrified. Like, how could this girl do this kind of thing? And she's like, I'm still gonna cut them anyway. I mean, I need to grieve for
Mhm.
my mom because her mom was literally starving and everything, trying to make ends meet and everything. And yeah, that's about when she cut her hair right there. They literally had a whole news article about her cutting it because they're like, "Oh, Mary Pickford cut her hair.
Mhm.
That's scandalous."
Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, yeah. So yeah, we did, and we would do these in about a week, wouldn't we?
Yeah, basically, we get a topic, we would figure out who we were going to discuss. He would say, "Oh, I'm going to do say Lucille Ball," and I was like, "Okay." And then he'd be like a little bit stuck afterwards to find the images. I said, "Well, I finished up my research. Do you need me to do it for you?" And so that started leading into our where we would help each other back and forth. I would do something, and he would fill in the gaps, or he would do something, and I would back and forth basically.
Hmm. Yeah. And
That's
yeah.
how we that's developed into our name, the Dream Team, because people go like, well, what is the Dream Team? One of our online friends heard us, and she's like, I love you guys banter because you guys back and forth is so perfect.
Mhm.
And she's like, you guys are like the Dream Team because it's so perfect. And I was going through Bitmoji and I saw that one. I said, you know what? when I rebrand my YouTube channel, because at first it was just under my full name and everything, I was debating whether going by hyphenated name because we got married and everything. I said, should I do that? And I said, you know what? If it's going to reflect the two of us, I need a way to reflect the two of us. Oh, what about this? The Dream Team. And so we've been the Dream Team since 2023 now. So that's the reason
great.
why. That's why we have that.
Well, I'm happy that you guys are a part of Orville Thursdays. And we talk a lot about this, but we want season 4.
Definitely.
We're tired of waiting.
Yes, more Orville, please.
We're from the fandom of Star Trek and Star Wars. We were around when there was the droughts. A movie didn't come out for what, 3 or 4 years, maybe. Yeah. To Star Wars, it was forever and a day. It seemed like.
Yeah.
And I tell my kids are so used to just having everything. Okay, I have a cat over here, and I don't know who it is. And I have like a blanket where I got cold the other night, and they've like wrapped themselves in the blanket down on the floor. And I'm trying to figure out who it is.
Lovely kitty. See, fortunately, our little baby here, this is Chips. He's our little.
Oh, he's cute.
He behaves himself.
Sci-fi Mombie security is ornery. They get in trouble all the time. So
see, I stay out of trouble. I don't hang from the ceiling or anything like I used to.
Yeah, he needs to hang from my ceiling fan because Jack got him for me, and so we dumped him our little baby. Since we're not going to have any babies of our own, we said, okay, we'll have these as our babies.
That tortoise is actually named after a real tortoise at the San Diego Zoo.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that actual.
You guys get to go to this. I've heard they have one of the best zoos in the country.
They do. So it's kind of funny. When I first came out here in 2021, he took me out here to the zoo, and then it wasn't until this year for our second wedding anniversary, we said, okay, let's do something special. Let's see if we can find the actual Chips so we can introduce Chips to Chips. And we think we spotted him, but we weren't quite sure because he was walking away in the distance. But yeah, we don't go to the zoo too often, but we do try to visit different things. Like we love to visit like the Whaley House because that's got a lot of history here because it's supposed to be the most haunted house in America. Or we'll visit like Old Town because that's a lot of the origins of the city. Or it has like there's a whole area called Heritage Park where it's like houses from the 1890s and 1880s that are still there. And like one of them didn't have
moved there. Yeah.
And there's like is all this one little square that you have to walk through. Unfortunately, it's like on top of a hill, so it's a bit of a trek. But we absolutely love it. Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, we love exploring San Diego. I mean, we'll explore that one, or we basically visit like little movie theaters. Sometimes we'll visit the zoo. Sometimes it's other things, but the zoo just unfortunately is expensive to go. So we make that more of a special treat than not an everyday thing.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, our zoo, I think it's pricey, but some people think it's well priced. But we have a really good elephant and giraffe breeding program here.
Okay.
We haven't had one in a while, but hopefully they'll keep doing that. But so zoos are fun. I like the St. Louis Zoo myself. That one's always a great time. It's free to enter, but you pay for stuff around the park.
Okay.
Towards the zoo.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've I used to believe going back to those tortoises, they're Galapagos tortoises. So they're these huge tortoises that are like, hundreds of pounds.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are really old. A lot of them are like over 100 years old. And back in the 70s, or like back in the earlier days, because they got them back in the 1920s. So back in the earlier days, they used to let kids ride them. They would take the kids, put them on the tortoise back, and then the tortoise would walk around a little bit with the child on it, and then they'd pick up the child and get the next child. Yeah,
interesting.
They stopped that in the 1970s. But for some reason, I had this distinct memory of riding a tortoise. And I was born in the 80s, right? So I for the longest time I could have swore I rode one of those turtles. I could have swore, right? I found a picture recently looking through after my dad's stuff. Like I found a picture recently of me at the San Diego Zoo on top of a bronze tortoise.
Oh, okay. That's
I
what
was
you're
on,
remembering.
that's what
Yeah.
it was. But for some reason my brain just thought I was one of those kids that rode tortoises.
Yeah, but they had to stop doing that because unfortunately, those tortoises they have these really bad dents in their shells,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, and they're
Well,
all banged up or chipped away.
Oh.
so Chips is actually named because he has a chip on the shoulder, like that has to do with like
Yes, on his
that
back.
time when he was being ridden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Aw.
but yeah, they've stopped that. They don't do that shit no more. So.
Thank goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, Jack bought them for me because he was like, you seeing that because our relationship unfortunately was well, not unfortunately, but it was basically it was primarily long distance because I was on the
Mhm.
East Coast, he was in California, and unfortunately, when you're long distance, you don't get to hug and hold on to the person that you love basically, and you
Mhm.
don't get to spend time with them. You have to do like video chats and so because you can't hug that person, you need something to cling to in a way to let them know, hey, I still love you. I mean, I know some people have these boyfriend pillow thing, which I find ridiculous. But he noticed I was a little sad and lonely and going through some PTSD and anxiety. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna get you something. I'm like, oh, what's that? He's like, you'll just have to wait and see. And so one cold January morning, I went to go get the mail. I opened it up and it was the little tortoise. And so he's been part of my
No.
life ever since. And
Mhm.
I started dressing him in onesies. I started giving him a little baby voice, and I always say, "Okay, I'm the mama, he's the daddy," and so he goes to a lot of places with it. Unfortunately, we almost lost him one time, and it was a little scary there, but. He goes with us and stuff like that, and we'll say, "Hey," we'll put him in my book bag, and we'll say, "You okay back there, Chips?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm okay, Mama."
That's
So
great. Yeah.
he had a good time hanging out with us. So
Yeah. Well, you guys are fascinating. I can't wait to read your books, the ones that I can buy. Um, there's got to be extra copies around somewhere, you know?
yeah,
I'll
mine's
figure
on
it out.
Amazon. I'm working on, like I said, the second one hopefully soon. I'll get that one finished.
Well, so like the idea is going to be like when it comes to this one, the before first contact. Unfortunately, I don't have access to that account anymore. And so like it's still out there, it's still for sale, but if you buy one, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get nothing from it.
Ah,
So what I'm doing is I'm rewriting it, and I'm rewriting it into the other history that I'm writing, up until 1850.
mhm.
Um, and I'm going to put it together. It's just going to be, eventually that was originally going to be called, well, that section will be called Manifest Destiny. But the idea is I'm going to put Before First Contact and Manifest Destiny together into just like the history of San Diego,
Mhm.
antiquity to 1850. And that would be
Mhm.
Mhm.
that'll be the one that I'll ask for you to buy because that'll be the one that I'm going
Okay.
to make my effort.
All right. Well, I will put their channel below, and please go out and subscribe to them. They have great content. They also do now. Is that Friday? No, Sunday nights, right? With
Yes.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris and I with the real review. We try to participate in that. We do gaming with them. We have tried doing gaming on our own. It's a little bit harder because we'll say people will say a lot of times we'll try to encourage people to play with us, and they'll say, "We'll watch you guys play." But I'm thinking some of those games are more than two players, so it's kind of hard when it's just the two
Yeah.
of us,
Mhm.
and basically when we're hanging out with our friends like Chris and them, chaos ensues. That's the way I could put it nicely. But we have
That's
a
the
good
best
time with
kind of chaos.
yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
Yes.
Chris has been a good friend to me because I met him actually before I met Jack, actually. So I met Chris when he was doing a review of the Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer, and I watched it with him and stuff like that. And so he came up with the idea for the real review, the weekly rumble kind of thing. And so I started supporting him, hanging out with his friend JJ Sith Lord, who has now passed away, unfortunately. But I would hang out with them. And so he would have like mystery guests for to review the questions that people were doing. And so he invited me to do that. And so gradually I introduced him to Jack. And then he would start doing these weekly gaming streams. I was like, since we're not doing anything on the weekends, except for a few little things here and there, and we need some way to break up the routine. Why don't we just do some gaming with our friends? And so we hang out with them, and who knows what will happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like it's kind of the same way it is on or Thursday nights on the Orville. We all know how those conversations go. Thank you, Dark Elves. No, just kidding.
Exactly.
Yes.
We were actually talking about that the other day, Jack and I were.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Oh yeah, good times.
All right, you two. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we sign off?
Buy my
Anything you want to
Skibidi
promote?
books.
Yes, buy books. Or anything coming up in the near future that you want to tell everybody about?
Like I said, once I finish my memoirs one, I definitely want people to check that out because I've had a very unique life. I mean, like I said, I grew up on the East Coast. I was actually in an immersion school and stuff like that, and I learned how to speak French when I was a very early age. And I've had a lot of unique experiences. I mean, I touched on it a little bit when I was talking about my writing journey. Like I said, unfortunately, my late father was, the nicest way I can put it, was an idiot. And he put me through so much trauma and stuff like that. I mean, people always assume because I wore a mask, so to speak, that everything was okay. I'm like, no, there's a reason why I had this trauma. There's a reason why because I go through anxiety still to this day. I still go through PTSD. I still go through panic attacks. I still go through those nightmares. And Jack has to remind me, hey, you're not defined by your past.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, this happened to you. Sure, you've gone through trauma and stuff like that, but a lot of people have to remind me, hey, you're stronger than this, and I believe in you. I mean, because people used to say, because a lot of times I would just like go like literally flow through life, and I would say, you know, instead of just trying to survive, go out there and live your life. And I'm like, you know what, I am living my life. I'm now having a job that I love where I get to help people that are in the community that are handicapped and disabled to become independent members of the society, to not be defined by their disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a wonderful husband who supports me, constantly saying, hey, here's a book. You want to write a book? Let's write your book. You want to do a YouTube video together? Let's do that. You want to go explore San Diego Zoo? Let's go do that. You want to go do this? Let's do that. Let's make it happen. And I'm just thankful I have those opportunities because, I mean, as much as I loved living in the East Coast, sure, there's always going to be parts of it that I miss, is the people primarily. The people there were what defined me, basically. And a lot of them have passed away, but there's still people in the East Coast that are special to me, like my mom and her family. But now that I'm in California, I'm like, okay, Jack's my family. I have an online community, you know, just don't assume that, you know who I am just because of a few little things. Sure, I may come across like, bold and stuff like that, but there might be moments when you see me a little bit hesitant and there's a reason why. Or don't just bully me, because unfortunately people think, oh, I can bully her and walk all over her. I'm thinking, if you're going to bully me and harass me, you're inflicting more harm to me than you are helping me in those cases. And that's not right.
That is wrong. Yeah.
And I hate that. I mean, because people have done that and say, oh, she's da 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 da. I'm like, that's wrong. I don't like that. I mean, because that's the reason why I came up with things that I did in the Orville community, like an Orville message boards, which is completely free. I came up with Orville podcasts. I came up with Orville content because Orville was something so special to me. I says, Seth and Tom Constantino came up with this beautiful gem called Orville. And I said, you know what? They gave me so much. Tom Constantino giving me the Orville badge that I showed off on the stream. I'm just a humble fan saying, you know what? I'm just going to give back to the community because they gave me so much. I mean, I say, and I mean it seriously, they've given me interviews. Sure. They've given me wonderful cameos and stuff, but I'm just like, I'm just like one fan among many. And I'm just thankful to be part of such a wonderful, amazing community because it brought me a lot.
Yeah. So I think we all feel that way about the Orville. It just seems like it's the change from Star Trek and Star Wars that we needed. And I definitely do not want to see it end.
Definitely.
There's too much there. There's just too much there that can keep going.
Yeah. It just needs to end properly too.
Even if we lose Adriana Palicki, we can always find a
Yeah.
different actress,
Sure. That's totally fine.
Yeah. So I'm sad to see her, if she doesn't return, I'm sad to see her go because the chemistry is all there
Yeah, I
between the
know.
whole
Right.
crew. But I totally get what she's saying.
True. I mean, like the only thing it was just kind of like I just kind of wish that I just kind of wish that there was more to say about it.
Mhm.
Like
Seth should come out
updates,
and say something.
some sort of update. And I know like a lot of times it's better to keep things hush hush, but then it's like it just kind of leaves us hanging.
Oh,
Yeah.
Seth, if you're listening.
Yes, please. We need some kind of update, sir.
Listen to your fans, damn it.
And I know they're trying. I just hope that I mean, like, I also know that, like, I guess Disney's like their standards for stream, like the streaming views or something. It's like, it looked like they were trying to see how it would do on Disney Plus because they did put it on Disney Plus for a while, and then suddenly it was just not. I guess it didn't do the numbers it was supposed to do.
Well, I mean, I think that's because everybody was so used to it being on Hulu, and it stayed in the top 15 for the past 3 years, 2 years.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
That might be why they're starting to Hulu
give me a
into
break.
Disney Plus.
I mean, I know the international fans have primarily Disney Plus because they're like, when you tell them about Hulu, like, Hulu, what's that?
Well,
But-
if you'd release the Disney numbers, maybe we would officially know.
right,
Right.
exactly.
Disney Plus numbers. That's the other thing I get frustrated with these streaming platforms about is they won't renew something, but yet they won't back it up with the data.
Right, exactly.
And
They
in
can
my
also
analytical
track
mind, because that's what I do all day is data for my company, I'm going, I don't believe you.
it. Right.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I definitely hope that it continues at least for another season. It just feels like if it does do another season after all the haggling that's been going on for all these years, and it doesn't do well, I think that'd be it.
Yeah, or maybe it's I say this and people go, nah, it's never going to happen. Maybe Fuzzy Doll needs to start their own streaming platform.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got ViewTech. Why can't they? I mean, they have one of the former vice presidents of Apple. Why can't they move that forward? I mean, I know it's going to be a lot of money. It'll take a dive for the first few years, right?
Mhm.
But you put Family Guy on there, you put American Dad on there, you put Ted on there, even though Ted's licensed to Peacock.
Right.
I think after a while it would make money. So, by the way, we want our season 3 bloopers.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
please.
We want our season 3 on 4K and HD.
Yes, we need some audio
DVD.
comments.
Hello. DVDs would be nice.
Yes,
Because a lot of
please.
people are turning against the streaming platforms to buy physical media.
Yes,
They're
because
not
that's
seeing this
that is a
trend.
dynamic.
They're blind. Yes.
Yeah, because
So.
physical media, honestly, certain things that you can find on physical media that you can't find on actual streaming services.
That's right.
Because I mean, there was a movie that I introduced Jack to, which some of you may have never heard of, but it's called The Power of One. That has a young Morgan Freeman and a young Daniel Craig that came out in the 90s. And unfortunately, you cannot find that too many streaming services, but you have to buy an actual physical copy of it or pirate it, basically.
Right. I was going to say my favorite streaming service is Pirate Bay.
That's awesome. All right, y'all. Well, like I said, subscribe to their channel. It's down below. Watch their content. Help them out. Got to click that subscribe and set the notification to be alerted to their stuff. Of course, do that here for Sci-Fi Mombie as well, if you don't mind. But they will join me every Thursday. And by the way, coming up soon, we will do another set of the Orville comics, the last set. It's going to be fun. We're doing them like a radio drama. So it's a good time.
Yes. Those are a lot of fun. Those are a lot of fun to do for sure. We get to do our little voice.
We had a lot of fun that first time.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, thanks guys so much for being on the show. I appreciate you greatly.
Thanks for having us.
You guys are amazing. I'm glad I met you guys. You guys are great friends, and
likewise.
Yes,
it's awesome to call you guys friends. So
Of course, we appreciate that. We approve you as a friend too. So thank you so much.
All right. All right. Later, party people.
What's up, party people? The weekly show that started it all is back. The OG will be pre-recorded, and it will be on Sunday nights beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 3 a.m. Central European Time. I host a show Monday through Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Central European Time, called the Galactic Cafe. Bring your breakfast, lunch, dinner, or a snack. Bring a beverage of your choice, preferably of an Orville mug, and let's talk mostly about sci-fi. I host a show 4 times a week, and it's my business model called Sci-fi Mombie Studios. On Monday nights, we are watching Futurama, American Dad, and King of the Hill. King of the Hill has new episodes, and coming back September 12th, Futurama will be brand new on Hulu. So come join me Monday nights beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 3 a.m. Central European Time. Thursdays are dedicated to the Orville, and my co-host and I, Dark Helmet, have an interesting panel that joins us, and we just chit-chat all 3 seasons of the Orville, plus do radio dramas of the comics. So come join us Thursday nights beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, 3 a.m. Central European Time. On Saturday nights in the Sci-Fi Mombie studio, it's a triple threat. Come join us beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Central European Time for The Muppet Show with me and Connie Cleary. Then Connie Cleary, JRC99US, and I do all the Star Trek shows, and right now we're doing Star Trek The Original Series, so come join us at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, 3 a.m. Central European Time. And when SNL returns for the 51st season, so will we. Saturday nights beginning at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, 5 a.m. Central European Time. Ted Season 2 is in post-production, but when it returns, so will we Wednesday afternoons to watch it. And we're hoping that Mission Log, the Orville Talking Ted will return also. We will watch that as well. Just watch our social media. We've added 2 new shows to the lineup here at Sci-Fi Mombie. Sci-Fi Mombie Found Wood and Sci-Fi Mombie Didn't Burn It. So watch our social media and our YouTube for updated episodes. Warning, Sci-Fi Mombie Studios and the Sci-Fi Mombie podcast will never ever personally DM you for donations. It's not even a requirement, but we would love for you to donate to us. So scan those 3 QR codes. Buy us a cup of coffee at ko-fi.com. We ask for some things on Throne. You can crowdsource or just buy them outright for us, and we receive them without ever getting your personal information. And we also have a Venmo account you can donate to. But we also have Patreon memberships. They're $3 a month. Go to patreon.com/user?8497235. Sci-Fi Mombie is all over social media. We stream daily to these platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, and TikTok. But we also have Patreon and Patreon memberships. They're $3. Discord, Mastodon, Threads, Substack, IMDb Pro, Blue Sky, Pinterest, and Counter Social. We do have a Flip account now, and it's also at the handle Sci-Fi Mombie. We have our own website at sci-fi-mombie.com. Check out our email link. Check out signing up for our newsletter. Check out our calendar of events. We also have examples of our videos, examples of our trailer, and Sci-Fi Mombie Securities gotcha information, sci-fi-mombie.com. Sci-Fi Mombie has our own merchandise shop at sci-fi-mom-b.myspreadshop.com. David Cabiza, who is the co-author and illustrator of the Orville comics, draws our logo every season. And then Dr. Omega helps us put it together for all the different shows across the Sci-Fi Mombie Studios family. So please go out and buy our merch and enjoy our artwork. We love you guys. So smyspreadshop.com. We love you guys. You guys are so fabulous. And as we always say, announce the Orville. And thank you for being our follower. Thank you for being our friend. And most of all, thank you for helping us build this channel. Later, party people.
Beaming through the cosmic haze, lights flash in neon blaze, retro rockets start to soar. Sci-fi Mombie wants much more. Sci-fi Mombie breaking through the screen, chasing dreams in a technicolor scene. Warp drive set, let's explore the stars. Sci-fi Mombie, no matter where you are. Binary beats and signals hum, space age stories, here they come, with quirky charm and cosmic flair. Sci-fi Mombies everywhere. Ray guns pop and galaxies twirl. Mombie's mind is out of this world. Sci-fi vibes that never get old. Welcome to the future bold. Sci-fi Mombie breaking through the screen, chasing dreams in a technicolor scene. Warp drive set, let's explore the stars. Sci-fi Mombie, no matter where you are. Ray guns pop and galaxies twirl. Mombie's mind is out of this world. Sci-fi vibes that never get old. Welcome to the future bold.